What's up, family? Come on in, come on in. I'm gonna give you guys a little bit to get in here before we get started. What's up, what's up, what's up? Man, it's gonna be a hectic conversation today. It's gonna be a rough one today. What's up, family? What's up, what's up? Man, something about being out here, man, where I can hear the birds. Something about being out here and just amongst all these trees in this jungle atmosphere, you know what I mean? It's something about this that just, man, it just makes me feel at home, you know what I mean? I just feel so at peace out here, you know? Man, it's beyond beautiful to me, you know? Man, family, we're gonna go ahead and get started. On behalf of my mother-in-law, man, may God bless each and every one of you that catch this live. What's up, babe? May God bless you and draw you closer into Him. Man, for those of you who catch this on the replay on YouTube, may God bless you as well and continue to manifest Himself unto you. And before we got started, man, I was talking to my queen, to my wife. I call her my queen because everybody ain't queen material. Everybody ain't king material. You know what I mean? And it was a Taquan, and I call her my queen because, man, that's such a high, honorable position. You know what I mean? Again, everybody's not queen material. And so when you hear me talking about my queen, man, that's my wife. That's my best half. That's my other half. That's whatever you want to call it. You know what I mean? That's my wifey. That's my boo. That's my everything. That's my world. You know what I mean? But I call her queen because I hold her in such high esteem. I call her my queen because I have so much respect and I value and I cherish her. You know what I mean? I'm just throwing that out there. So if you guys see her name up there, man, that's the reason why. That being said, family, we're going to go in today. It's going to be rough. And now the birds want to get started up. You know what I mean? I love that. I love that. I love that. Man. So, man, that's my strength. You know what I mean? That's like they're energizing me, you know? Man, we're talking about freeing your mind. Freeing your mind. And we're talking about, family, if you followed me for a while, you know that everything I talk about is related to mental health in some way, shape, or form. For the most part, I dare say 95, if not more, is related to 95%, if not more, is related to some form of mental health. You know what I mean? Mental health. And it's crazy because I know we talk about May is mental health month, but damn all that. Every month should be mental health month. You know what I mean? Every day should be mental health month because people are committing suicide on a daily basis. You know what I mean? We shouldn't just designate mental health, the importance of mental health to one day. What's up, Timmy? Mental health should be the most important topic that we should be talking about. You know what I mean? Forget all the stupid stuff. We should be focused on mental health. So now today we're talking about freeing your mind. What's up, Scorpio lady? In the 90s, there's a group that came out in Vogue, and they had this song, Free Your Mind. If you haven't heard that song, man, check that song out. Free Your Mind. And I can't sing worth the crap, so I'm not even going to attempt to try to sing it. But it's a powerful song. Free your mind. And that's what we're going to talk about today. With so many people reach out to me and they're so overwhelmed. They're so full of anxiety. They're so overwhelmed with fear, with nervousness. You know what I mean? And it's a trip because there's nothing wrong with being nervous. It's what you do with that nervousness. Stay with me. We're going to go somewhere today. And so, like, before I get on my lives, like today, I was talking to my queen and I was like, hey, babe, man, pray for me. You know, don't just pray for me. Let's stop right now. Let's pray. Let's pray. I need you to pray for me right now. You know what I mean? Because what I need to say today is like, man, I don't want it to be Elijah talking. I don't want Elijah to go on a tangent and it just be you guys hearing Elijah talk. Man, I need God to speak through me, to me and through me so that you guys hear God. You know what I mean? Hear what God is saying to you, universe, source, whatever you want to call it. You know what I mean? higher consciousness, collective consciousness, whatever. I don't care what we call it. You know what I mean? But there's a powerful message that we need to talk about today in regards to freeing our mind. And it's a trip because, man, I first went through like a major depression. You know what I mean? So when we're talking about today, freeing your mind, we're going to talk about a whole bunch of different topics, but it's all going to be in regards to freeing your mind. Okay? Because your mind is the most important aspect that we need to be paying attention to. So, and I've shared this before, in 96 was, man, it was a devastating year for me. I used to be a bodybuilder, and man, 96, man, I found myself as a single parent raising my 2 kids. You know what I mean? And I was struggling financially. I was struggling emotionally. I had a nervous breakdown and just the whole gamut. I was going through it. Okay, I went through it in 96. All right. And so, man, I went from 235 pounds, solid muscles, less than 8% body fat, down to 150 pounds, or less than 150 pounds in less than 3 months. In less than 3 months, I lost almost 100 pounds because I was so stressed out, because I wasn't eating, because I was so messed up. It's a trip because my face was all sunky and my clothes were sagging and hanging out. Man, I looked like a crackhead. And I didn't do dope. But because I wasn't eating and because I was so freaking stressed out. What's up, Sean? Sean's workouts. I was so stressed out. And so when I talk about depression, when I talk about anxiety, when I talk about all these things, I'm talking about my personal experience. I don't talk about stuff that I don't personally know. I leave that for everybody else. I only get on YouTube and talk about my experience, what God had to show me, the trials and tribulations and the things and experiences that I personally went through. And so when I talk about, man, we can learn to control that. We have to learn to control that. I'm not talking about what psychologists say. I'm talking about what I went through. So in 96, stressed the heck out. Stressed out. In 2016, I had another bout with depression. And I didn't realize that I had a bout with depression. I didn't realize that I had a bout with depression. And it's a trip because, you know, family, people deal with anxiety. People deal with depression. People deal with fear and all these other emotional things on a daily basis. And not enough people are talking about these things. We don't give this stuff the credit, or we don't have the conversations about these things like we should. Because we're so distracted talking about everything else. There's so many Americans popping pills for antidepressant medication. These companies, pharmaceutical companies, are making billions every year just off the antidepressant medication. For me, I've never been on medication. I've never taken medication. I haven't. To each their own. I'm not here to criticize anybody that's on medication. But there is an alternative route. There is a healthy route. There is a more beneficial and productive route. You don't have to take pills for the rest of your life. You don't have to take pills to go through depression. You don't have to take pills to go through anxiety. We do it for whatever reasons. Okay. And again, I'm not here to bash anybody. I understand that this is a sensitive topic. I understand that, man, this is a heavy topic. And a lot of people ain't ready to have this conversation. So 2016, after my wife passed away. It was around November timeframe. I didn't understand it, but I went into this funk. And I didn't understand that I was going into a funk. A few years later, God brought it back to my attention. Elijah, why is it, and he asked me, Elijah, why is it that you go through this funk around Thanksgiving time frame? Elijah, you withdraw yourself from everybody else. You're not excited about Thanksgiving, and I've never really been excited about Thanksgiving, but man, this is a great time for family to get together and chop it up and do. But I would withdraw from everybody around Thanksgiving time frame, right up to Thanksgiving time frame. I would withdraw, and I wouldn't come back until like after New Year's. So I would go through this funk from November, December, and the middle of January. I start coming out of it. And I didn't understand it. I didn't even realize it until God sat me down and was talking to me about it. And to me, it's like, oh, it's just the funk, God. It ain't nothing big. You know what I mean? This is what I do. And he had to show, Elijah, you go through this. Elijah, this is seasonal depression. Elijah, you know that this time of the year, around Thanksgiving to Christmas, more people commit suicide during that time frame than any other time of the year. More people in America commit suicide during the time frame of Thanksgiving and Christmas than any other time of the year. Seasonal depression. We're talking about freeing your mind today. And so what God had to show me is, Elijah, you have this depression state that you go through, and you've been going through this for a number of years now. You haven't even paid attention to that. You're not even aware of that. And I was completely oblivious to it. I knew I withdrew, but I didn't think too much about it. I didn't really see myself as depressed or sad. I just saw myself, man, it's just a little funk. You know what I mean? No big deal. And what God had to show me was, Elijah, there's a root cause for that. Do you understand why you go through this funk? Do you understand why you go through this seasonal depression where you withdraw from everybody else? And I was like, nah, God, I ain't never really paid attention to it. It's just life. You know what I mean? It's just life. I'm just getting older. I don't want to be around the people. And this was my justification for it. Man, I'm just getting older. I just don't want to be around people. And I'm not trying to deal with all this stuff. And what's up, Donald? I'm not trying to deal with all this craziness. What's up, Loretta? Man, it is what it is. God, I'm not tripping. And God was like, Elijah, you're not tripping about it. But I'm telling you, you need to be concerned about this. You need to understand why you go through what you're going through. Stop dismissing it. Stop minimizing it. This is not healthy. It's not normal. So I'm like, okay, God, what is it? He said, Elijah, do you understand that Thanksgiving was your favorite holiday? Thanksgiving, because you had your kids with you. When you were a kid, that was the only time that your family got together for the most part, and you had big meals and you got chitlins and all this other stuff. Do you remember Thanksgiving was your favorite holiday? Now Thanksgiving, you don't even want to do anything for Thanksgiving. Don't mean anything to you. And what do you do? You got all this stuff that you just go through. Why? And it's like I was sitting there, I was like, man, God, I don't know. What are you trying to show me? He said, Elijah, think back. What transpired during this time frame? What significant event happened in your life during this time frame? I'm talking about freeing your mind. And so many of us, we've gone through stuff and we don't understand why we get stuck there. We don't understand that, man, we get trapped in a certain time of the year, a certain time of the month, a certain time during the seasons, because something significant happened to us. So I'm like, okay, God, okay. Now, what is it? He said, Elijah, how could you forget? Thanksgiving was the last holiday that you spent with your wife, Cecilia. It was the day after Thanksgiving that she had a stroke in 2015, and her health declined rapidly. And a few weeks later, she was gone. And when he said it, Man, tears started running down my eyes because I remembered the day she died. But I forgot about Thanksgiving and the stroke she had. Because I suppressed that, because I didn't want to deal with that. I didn't want to deal with the fact that, man, I knew she was going to die, but after she had the stroke and she couldn't talk anymore, that messed me up because I knew that death was inevitable. I knew that death was soon. And so I blocked that out of my memory. But it was always there in my subconscious mind. Just like whatever transpired to you in your life is always there. It's not in your conscious mind. You're not thinking about it, but it's in your subconscious thoughts. And so you don't understand why you're filled with anxiety. You don't understand why you're filled with fear. You don't understand why you go through this depression. And so God had to show me, Elijah, this is what happened. This is where you got stuck at. And this is why you get stuck during this time of the year. This is why you get sad during this time of the year. Come on, freeing your mind. And so when he brought that to my remembrance, and that was in 2020 that he brought that to my remembrance. And I was sitting there and I was like, man, God, how many people go through this? How many people are stuck and they don't even understand why they're stuck? How many people are depressed and they don't even understand why they're depressed? How many people go through this funk and they can't shake it? How many people are popping pills? How many people are getting drunk, slamming dope, and all this other crazy stuff that we do to put a Band-Aid on the fact that, man, we're dealing with some stuff psychologically and we don't understand it. We don't understand why we have these thoughts. We don't understand why we have the feelings that we have. We just know, man, I can't shake it. I'm doing everything else. I've done everything I could to shake this feeling and I can't shake it. And so, we have to grow up. We have to learn how to get in connection with God. And again, I say this all the time, and I'm not talking about religion. I'm not talking religion. Any religion. I'm not talking against religion, to each their own, but religion isn't going to take away your depression. There's people sitting in church messed up. People sitting in church popping pills, taking anxiety pills, taking depression pills, and suicidal medication, and all this other crazy stuff, and they're sitting in church every Sunday. Or on the Sabbath when they go to church. So having religion isn't going to free your mind. You can have religion and not have God. You can have a religion and not understand who you are. You can have religion and still be bound and be twisted emotionally. We have to understand, man, we've done everything. We've done everything that we could think of to free our mind. We've done everything we know to do to free our mind. Except to sit there and go within and talk to God. Go within to our inner being and understand why we're so suicidal. Understand why we're so depressed. Understand why we have so much anxiety. Anxiety. That's fear of the unknown. fear of the future. That's all anxiety is. I'm scared of the possibilities of what might happen. It's a trip. We have so much education, so little self-knowledge. We have so much religion, so little self-knowledge. We have all this money, so little self-knowledge. We're so woke, but we still don't know who we are. We're so enlightened, but we still don't know who we are. Our chakras are perfectly aligned if you ask them, but they still don't know who they are. Their third eye is open, but they still don't know who they are. How is that possible? It ain't possible, family. You've been hoodwinked. You've been bamboozled. You've been led astray. You've been led to believe that you're saved, sanctified, Holy Ghost filled, water baptized, and you got to go through this bullshit in order to get to heaven. And you're dying every day. You're not fulfilling your purpose because you're stuck. You're enslaved emotionally. That's not of God. I'm going to say this again. And I know it's going to rub some people the wrong way. God does not want you a slave to your own mind. The universe, source, the Most High, Gaia, whatever you want to, collective consciousness, whatever you want to call it, does not want you enslaved emotionally. And anytime you feel a depression, anxiety, fear, self-hatred, low self-esteem, all of those things, that's not of God. God doesn't want you bound and shackled with that stuff. You can be free. You can be free. You can let go of the depression. You don't have to be suicidal. You don't have to be full of anxiety. You don't have to be full of fear. You don't have to hate yourself. But in order to get the answers, you have to go within. So many of us, we want to read. Give me a book. Let me get on you, family. I'm a life coach. I'm a mentor. But the truth is, family, and I probably shouldn't say, but I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna say it anyways. You don't need me. You don't need another life coach. You don't need another book to read. You don't need to watch another YouTube video. You ain't got to go to church. You ain't got to listen to somebody preaching to you and damning you to hell in order for you to get free. In order for you to get free, all you have to do is learn to just sit there and just go within. But that goes against everything we've ever heard. That goes against everything you've ever heard. That's why you're still depressed. That's why you're still full of anxiety. That's why you're still full of fear. That's why you're still full of self-hatred and low self-esteem and all this other negative stuff. Because you're doing what everybody else has told you to do. And it's not working. It's not meant to work. It's to make you feel less than. What do I mean? Because they're telling you in all these books to do whoop-de-whoop-de-whoop. They're telling you to go to church and pray and fast and pay your tithes and offering. They're telling you to go to the temple. They're telling you to do all this stuff. Read your Bible and memorize these scriptures and whoop-de-whoop. And you're still bound. You're still suicidal. You're still depressed. And you can quote all the scriptures. You know everything that Buddha said, everything that Confucius said, and you're still bound emotionally. You know the New Testament. You know the Old Testament. You can quote all the Psalms, all the Proverbs, and the wisdom in it. And you're still trapped. You're still suicidal. You're still depressed. You still don't like you. You're still full of unforgiveness. You're still full of hatred and animosity and bitterness. You're doing all these things. You're doing all these things to fix the problem. But you're not doing the one thing that you need to do. Again, I used to bodybuild. And as a bodybuilder, I'd be in the gym. And I never really liked working out with anybody else because I was always on my grind. Man, I got to get it. I got to get it. And I ain't got time to stand around talk. I ain't got time to stand around that BS, be looking in the mirror and flexing and all that other stuff. I ain't got time for that foolishness. Man, I'm in here for 2-3 hours and I'm getting it. I'm on it. I got my headphones. Excuse me. I have my headphones on and I'm in the zone. People are like, dang, you yoked up. Dang, you huge. Man, look at them pecs. Man, look at that horseshoe. What do you do? Man, you look at your wings and blah, blah, blah. But to me, in my mind, I still felt little. To me, in my mind, no matter how big I was, I still looked little. No matter what people said, no matter how many compliments I got, in my mind, I wasn't big enough. In my mind, I was still too little. So I'm in the gym and I'm hitting it hard, going hard. Why? Because in my mind, I was still too small. I wasn't big enough. 235 pounds, less than 8% body fat, and I wasn't big enough. I didn't see myself as being 235 pounds. I didn't see that as being big. I didn't see that as a nice shape. I didn't see that as nice muscular build. I saw that because on me, I still looked little. I'm talking about freeing your mind. I know women that they would eat a little something and they were skinny. Small. Size 6, size 4, if not smaller. And man, to them, they were big. To them, they were too big. So they would eat a little something, and they would go throw up. They would force themselves to throw up. They look anorexic. And in their mind, they were too big. In their mind, they were too fat. We're talking about freeing the mind. No matter what anybody told them. Everybody was telling them, man, you need to gain some weight. Man, you're kind of on the thin side. I don't think that's healthy. Man, what's going on? Why ain't you eating? Because nothing anybody else said mattered. All that mattered was that in their mind, for whatever reason, in their mind, they were too big. In their mind, they were too fat. They probably didn't have an ounce of fat on them. But in their mind, they were convinced they were fat, and that's all that mattered. Your opinion, my opinion, didn't matter. Because how they saw themselves was they were too big. They weren't accepted. They weren't valued and loved and cherished, what's up, JetBlue, because they were too big. Freeing the mind. So, man, I know women that's gone to counseling for years. And couldn't get help with that. Didn't know how to be cured of that. So they took medication. I know people that have gone to counseling for depression for years on all different types of medication. And I'm not minimizing depression. Don't get it twisted. I'm not dismissing or invalidating the struggles. I've been there. I understand the depression. I understand the suicidal thoughts. I understand the anxiety. I understand the fear. Because I've walked it. I've lived it. We have to get to the point to where we sit down and just surrender. What I mean, it's like a drug addict. A drug addict is not going to change their life until they determine, man, I'm tired. I can't do this no more. I can't do this no more. I don't have another one left in me. Man, I've done all the AA counseling classes. I've done all the NA stuff, and none of that stuff helped me. I've gone to programs in the prison system. I've gone to rehab over and over and over. That stuff didn't help me. What helped me was I finally got to the point where I was sick and tired of being sick and tired, and I was done. I was done. Then I started going to AA and NA and all these other programs, and I got the help that I needed. But in order for me to get the help I needed, I had to surrender. I had to get to the point where it's like, I'm done. I can't do it again. I can't do another one. I don't have another one left in me. I had to get sick and tired of being sick and tired. I didn't care about my family loving me. You don't care. I've never been on dope. I'm just telling you what they've told me because I was a drug counselor. And no matter how much their family loves them, no matter how much money their family spends for them to go to rehab, none of them are going to get the help they need until they get to the point of, man, I'm done. I'm done. I can't do this anymore. I'm tired of fighting this fight. I'm tired of this emotional battle. Think about Amy Winehouse. Think about Whitney Houston, Elvis Presley, Jimi Hendrix, Marilyn Monroe, and the list goes on and on and on of people who had money and wealth and fame, and they had emotional demons that they couldn't deal with or they didn't know how to deal with. So, we got all these people committing suicide. We have all these veterans committing suicide. We have almost one veteran every hour committing suicide in this country. We got kids in the 5th grade and younger committing suicide on a daily basis because of the emotional stuff that they're dealing with. I'm talking about freeing the mind. What's so wrong? What's so devastating that these kids are dying and checking out? Why do we have so many kids diagnosed with all these mental disorders now? Why do we have so many kids on medication now? Psychedelic medication. Why do we have all these kids on Ritalin? Why do we have all these kids on Prozac and all this other crap? We have to get to the point to where we start dealing with the real issue. We have to get to the point where we stop sugarcoating shit. We stop putting a Band-Aid on shit. We got to get to the point where we stop just, man, I just want to exist. And that's all we're doing is existing. We zone out on TV. We grab some popcorn, grab our beers, our wine, whatever it is you drink, and we eat ourselves. We drink ourselves. We smoke ourselves into a comatose state. I don't want to feel anything anymore. So let me just get full on food. I don't want to feel anything anymore. So let me just smoke this stuff until I'm out of it. I don't want to feel the pain and the loneliness and the depression and all this. Man, so let me just go do this. Let me just go do this. And all we're doing is sweeping it up under the rug. What's up, Libra lady? I'm Libra love. We're just sweeping it up under the rug. When are we going to start having the real heart-to-heart conversations? When are we going to start talking about what's really going on? We got all these people that are religious. And this is the reason why I stress so much about, man, we got to stop faking the funk about religion. You got to stop faking the funk about, man, Jesus is the answer for everything. If that's the case, then nobody in church should ever be depressed. If Jesus is all you need, then nobody in church should ever be suicidal. Nobody in church should ever have fear and doubt and anxiety. If Jesus is all you need, then nobody in church should ever have to go hungry. Nobody in church should ever have to be abused sexually and financially and emotionally. If Jesus is all you need, then you should be perfect. Your life should be straight and you should have no issues. But the reality is, man, we go to church one way and we walk out of church another way. Why? Because we sit around all these people, and some of them are financially successful, but they ain't really dealing with their stuff. And so we learn to fake the funk. We learn to speak the religious lingo. Man, I'm saved, sanctified, Holy Ghost filled, water baptized, running for the Lord. I'm on fire, and whoop-de-whoop-de-whoop, and you're still depressed. Soon as you get away from church, man, I can't deal with this shit no more. Man, I'm sick and tired of this bullshit. Man, and the truth comes out. But as long as we're around other religious people, we have to put on the mask. We got to put on the facade. Everything is okay. And inside, we're dying. Everything is okay. I'm good. I'm blessed and highly favored. And I'm suicidal. I'm blessed and I'm highly favored. And the Lord loves me. And Jesus is my husband. And you're depressed and you're wanting to commit suicide. And you're lonely. You're lonely. But you talk all this religious lingo and you're not dealing with the real issues. You're preaching the sermons, but you're not dealing with your issues. You're talking about sin, but you're not dealing with your issues. You're condemning homosexuals and everybody else to hell, but you're not dealing with your issues. You talk politics, but you're not dealing with your issues. We get up and we talk about all these other Hollywood stars. And we talk about how they're demon possessed. And we talk about how they sold their souls to the devil to get to where they're at financially. And we talk all this foolishness. We talk all this self-righteous judgmental bullshit, not knowing what the hell those people have done. The reality, you say you got Jesus, you say you in church, and you got all this stuff figured out, and you're still fucking depressed. You're still fucking lonely. You're still fucking suicidal. You're still full of anxiety. You're still full of self-righteousness and judgment and anxiety and all this other shit. But you don't want to deal with the issue, your issue. So you'd rather point your finger at everybody else that's living a better life than you are. You'd rather point your fingers at everybody else that's made it in America or made it that's big time, and you're sitting there judging them. You're sitting there hating on them because you're struggling financially. And so you convince yourself that, man, in order to go to heaven, God wants me poor. God wants me broke. God wants me whoop-de-whoop-de-whoop. And no, that's not real. But you've allowed your ego to convince yourself of that because you won't deal with your bullshit and get it fixed. You won't deal with your shit and resolve it and move forward and reach your full potential. We have to learn to deal with our bullshit. And it's scary. It's scary. And the trip is, a lot of us, we're scared of the dark. A lot of us, we're scared of the unknown. We're scared of the unknown. And we don't want to go within our subconscious thoughts. We don't want to dive deep into why we are the way we are. Because the truth is of what we might discover. We're scared we're going to turn up some stuff. We're scared we're going to realize some stuff about us. We're scared we're going to regurgitate some old emotions. Family, if that's your concern, you've been dealing with those fucked up, toxic ass emotions your whole damn life, or since whatever event happened in your life that created that emotional state for you. You've been dealing with it since then. You've been carrying that baggage since then. And if your trauma happened when you were a kid, like the great majority of us did, you've been carrying that toxic belief system since you were a child. So for you to say, man, I'm scared to dive deep, and man, I'm scared of what I'm going to discover. I'm scared of what I'm going to upbring, and whoop-de-whoop-de-whoop. Family, you've been carrying that baggage your whole life. How long are you going to keep carrying it? How long are you going to willfully stay depressed? How long are you going to willfully stay full of fear and anxiety? People don't like this when I say this. Depression, anxiety, that's all optional. What's up, Wahid? That's optional. That's a choice. That's a choice. And I know that goes against your religious beliefs. I know that goes against your education and all the bullshit you've been fed. That's why you can't get rid of it. That's why you can't shake that funk. That's why you can't get rid of your depression and your suicidal thoughts and your anxiety and your fear. So many of us, and one of the things that I dislike about psychology is the fact that we put a label on every fucking thing. What do I mean by that? We put a medical term on every ailment, and we tell people this is an illness, this is a disease. You got road rage because it's a disease. You're depressed, and that's a sickness. You're full of anxiety, that's a sickness. That's an illness. Here, take these pills. And the truth is, they're not a fucking disease. They're not a fucking illness like they say it is. It's a fucking frequency. It's your energy. It's the frequency you choose to reside on. And again, I'm not here to invalidate anybody's or dismiss anybody's fears and anxieties and depression. I've been there. You know what I mean? I'm trying to help us. I'm trying to help us. You know what I mean? It's a choice. It's a choice. Stop being a fucking victim and grow up. And the most of us, we want to be a damn victim. Oh, I'm this way and it's hereditary. I'm this way and it just runs in my DNA. It just runs in my genes. My grandma had anger issues. My mama had anger issues. I got anger issues. And whoop-de-whoop-de, man, it's a generational curse. Well, break the motherfucker. Grow the fuck up. We have to understand. We have to understand. We're responsible for our life. We are responsible for our own life. Stop blaming your daddy and your mama for your fucking life. You 40, 30, 50 years old. When are we going to grow up? When are we going to let go of the baggage? Depression, all of that It's a choice. It's a choice. Why do I say it's a choice? Because you have to understand, it's a frequency. And what do I mean? See, because it is chemically impossible. It's scientifically impossible. It's spiritually impossible for you to be depressed and for you to be grateful at the same time. You cannot be depressed and grateful at the same time. You can't. You can't have anxiety and be grateful at the same time. It's impossible. You can't have anxiety and be grateful at the same time. You can't be in a state of depression, in a state of ungratefulness, or a state of anger, a state of resentfulness, a state of suicide, and be in a state of gratitude at the same time. You can't do it. If you don't believe me, try it and be real with yourself. You cannot be depressed and be talking about, man, I'm so full of gratitude. I'm so grateful for my life, and I'm grateful for this, and I'm grateful for this day, and I'm grateful. You cannot be grateful and have all this other toxic stuff going on at the same time. What happens is you experience something and you enjoy a moment of gratitude. You enjoy just a moment of gratitude. And then you get distracted and go right back down that rabbit hole again. You go right back down that suicidal thought. You go right back down that depression state. You go right back down that fear of anxiety. You go right back down into fear and all of those other frequencies. Because you can't be grateful and have all of that other toxic stuff going on at the same time. You choose to get on that frequency of ungratefulness. You choose to get on that frequency of anxiety, fear of the unknown. You choose to get on that depression state. You choose to get on that angry state and that bitter and rage and anxiety and whoop-de-whoop. You choose that. You choose that. And a lot of times, and it's a trip because we talk about you are what you eat. You are what you eat. How is it that we can sit there and talk all this stuff and be so deep and so ignorant at the same time when it comes to our own emotional state? How can we understand you are what you eat physically, but not understand you are what you consume emotionally? You've been following me for a while. You know I'm not into rap music. I don't listen to that crap. I'm not into a lot of the stupid stuff that they put on TV. I don't watch none of the crap they put on TV. Okay? I don't follow the crap that they put on TV. Why? Because I understand the frequency that it's on. I understand it's toxic and it's negative. So why would I willingly put that toxic shit in my mind? If I am what I eat, then I am what I consume. Emotionally, intellectually. If I consume a bunch of negativity, you're fucking negative. It is what it is. If you consume toxic bullshit, you get on the phone and you get on social media and you're just engaged in all this fucking gossip and petty ass bullshit, that's because you're a negative person. That's because you're a toxic ass person. It is what it is. Grow up. Grow up. My kids, when my late wife was here, the kids would tell us, man, it's boring. I'm bored. And I'm bored, man. Let's do something. I'm bored. And Cecilia would always say, you're bored because you're a boring person. You're bored because you're boring. Nobody's job to entertain your ass, to make you happy. You're bored because you're boring. You're depressed because you're in a depression state, because you chose to operate on that frequency. You're full of fear and anxiety because that's the state you chose to operate on. That's the frequency you got on. How do you get off that frequency? How do you get out of that depression state? How do you get out of that suicidal state? And the trip is, you know what? I was telling you guys that in 96, man, when I lost all that weight and had a bad breakup relationship, right? But this is what we do in our own crazy, psychotic ways. We know we got our heart broken. We know we're going through some stuff emotionally. But we'll put on some music that reminds us of that person. We'll put on some music. And at the time, I met Toni Braxton that came out, and she had the song, Unbreak My Heart. Unbreak My Heart. And I'm going through some shit emotionally, right? I'm going through that. I'm having a nervous breakdown. I'm depressed. Man, I got suicidal thoughts and all this other shit, right? But I'm putting on this fucking music. And it's a beautiful song, but it's fucking negative. It's a beautiful song, but it's fucking depressing. And I'm sitting there just listening to the song. Man, and I'm playing it over and over and over. And I'm driving down the freeway, the 405 in LA. And man, tears are running down my eyes. And I'm crying and boo-hooing because this song got me fucked up. And I can't even see straight on the road because I willingly put on this crazy ass song. We put on all this lovey-dovey stuff when we get our heart broke. We put on all this stuff that reminds us of these other people and the shit that we just went through, the shit that we're going through. And it keeps us in that depressive state. It keeps us on that low vibrating frequency. It keeps us in that state of brokenness. And we sing these songs not even understanding the lyrics and what we're manifesting in our heart, in our mind, and in our lives. Oh, I love the sound of this. Man, I love the vibe of this. And we don't even understand. It's all frequency. I'm on this low frequency right now because of the situation that I'm going through. And because I'm going through all this, I'm attracting and I'm listening to all this crap music. Because that's the vibration I'm on. So if you're watching crap shows, Dirty Housewives of Atlanta, and all this other talk, Jerry Springer, and all this other bullshit that's out there, that's because that's the frequency you're on. You're on that negative, toxic ass bullshit frequency. It is what it is. Get over it. Man up, woman up. Grow up. You watching that stupid shit because that's the frequency you're on. You listen to crap music, that's because that's the frequency you're on. That's what you're attracting. That's what you're resonating with because that's where your emotional state is at. That's where your frequency, your energy is at. So how? How do we change our emotional states? How do we get rid of depression? How do we get rid of anxiety? How do we get rid of fear and self-hatred and all this other negative, toxic crap that's holding us back, that's stopping us and keeping us from reaching our full potential, that's stopping us from reaching and accomplishing all the goals and the dreams that we have? How do we get our emotional state right so that we could get the queen and the king that we want? See, I hear all these women, I hear guys too, talking about, man, all I keep attracting is these bum ass people in my life. All I keep attracting is these fuck boys. All I keep attracting is these broke ass motherfuckers who ain't doing shit, who ain't trying to do shit, and whoop de whoop de whoop, and la 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 la. They talking all this crazy shit, right? And it's real. That's what they're attracting. But they don't understand that they're attracting all of this crazy shit, all these people with no ambitions, people with no drives, people that's messed up. They're attracting them. Why? Because that's the frequency they're on. That's the energetic level they're on. You will attract your queen. You will attract your king when you get on that frequency. You cannot and will not attract your king or queen until you get on that frequency. You might attract a wife and a husband, but just because you got a wife and a husband don't mean that they're king material, don't mean that they're queen material. A whole lot of husbands ain't king material. There's a whole lot of wives that ain't king or queen material. You attract what you want when you get on the right frequency. Stop blaming all these people for being bums and narcissists and all this other shit, and you're attracting them. You're attracting them because you guys are on the same level. You're on the same frequency. It's like billionaires. Billionaires don't hang out with broke people. Billionaires don't socialize for the most part with broke people. Billionaires don't hang out and date broke people. Billionaires hang out with other billionaires. Why? Because there's a frequency that they're on. It's not that they think they're better than you. It's a frequency. It's their energy. A crackhead can move to any city in the world. A tweaker can move to any city in the world. And by the end of the day, they will know the hangout spots. By the end of the day, they will have the connections. Why? Because they're on that same frequency. So, if you want to get rid of your depression, if you want to get rid of your suicidal thoughts and your anxiety and your fears and all this other stuff, you got to do the work. You have to do the work. Taking the medications ain't helped your ass because you've been taking medications for years and it ain't fixed shit. You've been going to counseling for years and it really ain't fixed shit. You've been going to church your whole damn life. You could quote the whole fucking book of the Bible and it ain't fixed shit. You have to change your frequency. I told you guys the other day, talking about the difference between a thermostat and a thermometer. See, when you're depressed and you're suicidal and you got anxiety and fear and all that other negative toxic shit, it's just because you're a thermometer. That's all you are. You're just a thermometer. You're incapable of changing your circumstances. You're incapable of changing your environment. All you could do is tell everybody what the temperature is. Because that's all a thermometer can do, is just tell you the temperature of the environment. It's incapable of changing the environment. A thermostat regulates the environment. The thermostat says, oh, it's 68 degrees in here. That's too damn cold. Let me raise it up to 75. And the environment has to change and get warmer. The thermostat says, oh, it's 87 degrees in here. Oh, heck no. We're going to lower this down to 68. And the environment has to change because the thermostat regulates the environment. The thermostat regulates the surroundings, its area. In order to change your mind, in order to change your frequency, you have to go from being a thermometer to a thermostat. You have to know who you are. You have to understand why you do the stupid shit you do. Why you have these crazy ass thoughts. And then you have to get to the point, like every drug addict, every alcoholic, every gambling addiction, and every other addiction that people go through, you have to get to the point, it's like, man, I ain't doing this shit no more. I'm done. I'm done. I'm done. You have to change. You have to change your frequency. When you change your frequency, you start changing your perspective. Let me say it again. In order for you to change your perspective, in order for you to change your mind and the way you live your life, you have to first change your frequency. The frequency that you're on, man, if it's not guiding you, if it's not helping you reach your full potential, you might want to check that out. See, and that's the whole purpose of meditating and going within. See, because so many of us, we think we're okay. And I just did a video yesterday talking about overcoming our fears. And I was talking about, man, how when my wife died in 2015, I thought I was good. But God had to show me, no, she had to go so that you could grow. You were comfortable here. Elijah, you got complacent in your growth and development. You got stagnant. And so many of us, we've grown a little bit. And because we've grown some, and because we've changed some, man, we got comfortable. We got complacent. We felt like we've arrived. And what God had to show me was, no, you never arrived. You never get to the place of, I've arrived, until you die. You never get to the place of, man, I'm here. You don't get there in this lifetime. What happens is you grow and you go through some stuff and it breaks you down and you cry and you're brokenhearted or whatever the case may be, and you grow through it. See, if you don't grow through it, man, you're going to keep going through the same shit over and over and over and over and over until you grow the fuck up, until you grow through it. You're full of fear, anxiety, depression, and all this other stuff because you haven't grown through it. You haven't grown through it. You've gone through it, but you haven't grown through it. And the only way to grow through it is to go within. God, what are the lessons? God, what am I supposed to learn from this? God, how is this supposed to help me? God, what am I supposed to get from this? But that's not what the great majority of us do. The great majority start pointing the fingers at all these people who've hurt us, all these people who broke our hearts, all these people who've abused us, all these people who's doing all this other stupid shit. Instead of sitting there saying, okay, I see what they're doing, but it ain't about them. It's always about me. I don't care what's going on in the world. It ain't about that. It's about me. It's always about you. What am I supposed to learn from this? How is this supposed to help me get to my full potential? How is this supposed to help me to get to the next level? See, as we're here on this life, we're on a journey, and it's always about going from level to level to level to level. And I say this all the time, there's levels to this. There are levels to growth and development. There are levels to your spirituality. And so as you go through this situation and you figure it out and you understand it and you learn, man, God gives you like a reprieve. He gives you like a little vacation. Man, you're able to just sit back and just like, oh, whew. Man, that was rough. Man, that was hell. But I made it and I'm so grateful. Man, look at all this stuff that I learned. Man, I learned this. Man, I learned this. Man, I figured this out about me. Man, I learned this. And man, I'm so grateful, blah, 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 blah. And you sit there and you just bask in it. And it's like, oh. And then after a while, God comes back to you Your subconscious comes back to you. Somebody will trigger you. Somebody will do something to you and it'll piss you off. Somebody will do something to you and it'll get you going. And God is trying to show you, hey, it's time. It's time for your next lesson. You've had a nice little break. You had a nice little vacation. It's time to go to the next level. So you're going to go through some things. You're going to experience some things. And they're going to piss you off. They're going to hurt you. And what do you do? You're going to go through some shit. You're going to lose some shit. Because it's time for you to go to the next level. It's time for you to grow up some more. It's time for you to deal with some more issues. It's time for me to bring up some more shit that's been suppressed in your subconscious thoughts. So we never reach the state of being perfect. We never get to the state of, I got it all figured out, because you don't. That's your ego fucking you up. That's your ego playing tricks on you to keep you stuck right where you're at. So you don't grow any further. So you don't go to the next level. So how do you do that? You can only do that by learning the lessons. And how do you learn the lessons? God. What am I supposed to learn? God, I'm trying to get in alignment with my greater good. I'm getting in alignment with my spiritual man. I'm getting in alignment with my soul, my mind, my heart, and my soul, my spirit. They're all in alignment. Now I'm connected to God. Now I'm connected to my greater good. Now I'm connected to universal consciousness. Now I can get the downloads. Now I can understand the lessons. Now I'm tapped into infinite wisdom, infinite knowledge. Now I can learn. Now I can move beyond where I'm at. Now I can go into the next season of my life. There's always a next level. There's always a next level. And that's the problem that I have with people talking about. And again, I understand the chakras. I believe in the chakras. I work with the chakras. And I understand the kundalini and your third eye and all this other stuff. But you miss it. Because we get so spiritual and we get so freaking arrogant in what we believe we know. And not even understanding that's a trick of the ego to keep us stuck right where we're at. So we don't go any further. The only way to get out of depression, the only way to get out of anxiety and fear and self-hate and all this other stuff is I gotta go within. You have to go within. You could continue popping pills if you want to each their own. You know what I mean? Continue popping your pills. You know what I mean? Do you? Continue drinking, continue smoking, doing what, chasing ass, whatever, chasing money, whatever it is that you do to make you feel good about you. If that's what you do, man, do you? You know what I mean? I'm not here to condemn, judge, put anybody heaven or hell. You know what I mean? Do you? But if you want to grow up, if you want to go to the next level, if you're sick and tired of being depressed, if you're sick and tired of being angry and frustrated and full of anxiety and fear and hate and rage and all this, if you're sick and tired of that shit, now it's time to grow through it. Now it's time to grow the fuck up. And you can only grow up by going down. What I mean, you got to go from here down into your heart, down to your soul, to your spirit. Insanity is doing the same thing over and over and over and expecting a different result. Whatever you've been doing, it hasn't been working. It's time to do something different. It's insane to keep doing the same shit over and over and over. That's insanity. And some of us, We've allowed our ego to mind fuck us so much to where we just accepted our emotional state. We've accepted the fact, man, I'm gonna have to take pills for the rest of my life. I'm gonna be depressed for the rest of my life. I'm gonna be an alcoholic, a drug addict for the rest of my life. I'm gonna have anger issues for the rest of my life. I'm gonna be depressed for the rest of my life. I'm gonna be full of fear for the rest of my life. I'm gonna be full of anxiety for the rest of my life. And many of us, we've accepted that fate. We've accepted the fact that we're going to have these bum people in our lives for the rest of our life. I'm never going to have the relationship I want. I'm never going to have the king I want. I'm never going to have the queen I want. We've accepted that fate. We have to grow up. We have to take control over our mind. Just because all these thoughts come to you, don't mean you have to dwell on them. Said that yesterday in the video yesterday. Just because this stuff comes to you, don't mean you have to accept it. It doesn't mean you have to embrace it. You have to grow up and understand you have a choice. You've always had a choice. It's like you have a choice. You can stay depressed if you want to. You can stay full of fear if you want to. You can stay full of anger if you want to. You can stay full of hate if you want to. You can stay full of anxiety if you want to. Or you can humble yourself and sit there and grow up. And grow up. And grow through everything that you're on. Grow out of that frequency. It's a choice. And the trip is, we've lost our voice. We've lost our voice. What I mean, we do all the yeah, but we ain't saying shit. We do all the yeah, we'll do, but we ain't talking about anything of worthwhile. We post all this shit, but it's powerless. It has no value to us. There's nothing there's no power behind the stuff we say. It's deep, but there's no power to it. Because you have to put in the work. You have to put in the work. You have to change your frequency. Nobody can change your frequency. That's a you thing. God is not going to change your frequency. That's a you thing. We all have free will. Free will. You choose how you're going to live your life. You choose what emotional state you're going to live at. You choose that. Nobody can make you happy. Nothing can make you happy. That's a you thing. That's an internal job. There's people with all the money, all the fame, all the wealth, all the status, and they're still depressed. They're still popping pills. They're still taking dope. They're still doing shots and doing all this other crazy stuff. They're still suicidal. They're still committing suicide. I just list you a whole bunch of people that were wealthy beyond their means. All the fame, and they still OD'd. Because no amount of money can make them happy. No amount of stuff can make them happy. It's an internal job. What makes you happy, if you're honest with yourself, is, man, being in alignment with God. Most of us don't understand what being in alignment with God is. And so we go pursuing happiness in stuff. We go pursuing happiness in people. We have to grow up. We have to grow up. My hope and prayer is that something has been said to make you come to, or get you to come to the conclusion, man, I'm tired. I'm tired of being depressed. I'm tired of being brokenhearted. I'm tired of being angry. I'm tired of being bitter. I'm tired of carrying these suicidal thoughts. I'm tired of being scared of the future. I'm tired of not living a happy life. I'm tired of not being fulfilled. I'm tired of just making it. I'm tired of just going through the motions. I'm tired of being connected to the wrong people. I'm tired of allowing the wrong guys, the wrong women into my life. I'm tired. I'm tired. I'm tired. Once you get there, man, release it. Release it. Again, you can't have all that stuff and be grateful. You can't be grateful and have all that negative stuff. It's impossible. Man, my wife and I will pray over everybody that's on this YouTube channel, everybody that's watched this live stream. Man, for all you that left comments, you know what I mean? Man, I bless you. You guys are in our thoughts and prayers. We love you guys. We're not just saying that, man, we truly mean that. We love each and every one of you. And yeah, we'll be doing the live streams at 6:30 going forward until further notice. Man, if you have any comments or you want us to talk about anything in particular, man, just put a comment in there or go to the video afterwards and add a comment of what you would like us to talk about. Again, I have like over 730 something videos up, and I know it's hard to go back in and, you know, to try to figure out what video's talking about what, but man, if you want something talked about in particular, man, just comment or say something, you know what I mean? Again, namaste. That's the God in me, the light, the love in me, sees, recognizes, acknowledges, and cherishes the God, the love, the light within you. Happy healing. Peace.